Shalom, this is Mary Omni from the World Government House of King David, Holy Covenant Constitutional Enforcer. I'm the woman of Galatians 4:4 and the woman of Revelations 12. Please refer to your Bible. And all I ask you to do is consider that I am who I say I am. I'm the mother of the New Jerusalem, and I'm the mother that gave birth to newborn King Emmanuel, February the 15th, 2011. This is a Republic Notice. The title of this Republic Notice is "No Man Will Ever Sit on King David's Throne Again." No man will ever sit on King David's throne again. Okay, we're waking up and we're finding out that we are Israelites, we're Judah, we're the fallen gods. Some of us calling ourselves different things under different names, under different churches, under different sects. Some calling ourselves different nations, Moorish nation, nation of this, nation of that, different groups of Hebrew Israelites. Okay. Now, the black woman, she's kind of just maintained following the Christian church. And I think the ministers of the churches is starting to wake up and understand that they should be ministering to the people on the Sabbath day. You know, I don't think they should keep on going on, on Sunday, because they know that that's against the Bible. It never said nothing about worship on the Sunday, and God created the sun. So we got all this going on. Nations, wrong worship of the Sabbath day, different Hebrew Israelite sects, different groups of Hebrew Israelites, different groups of this nation and that nation and this and that other nation. And most of them are led by men and women following them, just like they followed men right into captivity. Now, it's all right you waking up and wanting to form something. But the problem is you're not forming unity. See, you got all this stuff here and you don't have unity. And meanwhile, the black baby is being trampled to death. So if you don't have unity and you're watching your black infant heirs being trampled to death, what are you forming all these future things to invest in something for if you're not thinking about the black infant that's being trampled to death, which is the Judah royal infant from the Holy Covenant nation of the Constitution. Now, also what we see is all on the internet now. All this intelligence, all this information, all this other stuff is just being spilled out all over the place. And all you see pretty much is black men fighting each other over who got the best knowledge, who got this, who know this. Is always so-and-so versus so-and-so, so-and-so versus so-and-so. So-and-so was this, and so-and-so was that, and I diss so-and-so, so-and-so this. Constantly accusing each other, constantly pointing out each other intellectual flaws. You're doing all this. All this stuff is going on among men again, okay? See, but they not on that understanding of that. They have no purpose but to protect the black woman and children. Right now, no, they're still in childish ego display of I got this knowledge better than you and I can dish you on this and this and that. This is children in displays of ego behavior. And it don't matter how much knowledge you have, because we have children that are geniuses, but they are still children in a genius capacity. But these men are not geniuses. They're nowhere near it. They may have learned and been able to hold on to information that don't make them a genius. And so they just taking all this information and they doing internet wars against each other. All they doing is fighting. That's all they do all the time is just fight, 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 fight. Fight, 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 fight. But the condition of black America do not improve. All they do is fight, fight, form this, form that, form this, form that, fight, fight, form this, form that, this versus this versus that. But the black baby, meanwhile, is being trampled by 300 million while they ego proving to each other who got the knowledge. They don't have the knowledge to protect that black infant, so they're children. Jeremiah 33:16. Jeremiah 33:16. In those days shall Judah be saved, and Jerusalem shall dwell safely. And this is the name wherewith she shall be called, the Lord our righteousness. Jeremiah 33:17. For thus saith the Lord, David shall never want a man to sit upon the throne of Israel. Neither, Jeremiah 33:18, neither shall the priests, the Levites want a man before me to offer burnt offerings and to kindle meat offerings and to do sacrifice continually. Which means that, keep all your burnt sacrifices and all this BS you got going on with all this arguing with each other. Because you know what? King David don't want you on his throne anyway. So you can come at any nation you want. You can come as the Moorish nation, the Nation of Islam, the Nawabian nation. You can come as any nation you want. King David is from the Judah nation, and you're not going to be sitting on his throne. No man is going to be sitting on his throne. So ain't no need of you thinking you're going to be higher than a woman. Let me go back to Jeremiah 33:16. Jeremiah 33:16. In those days, Judah, talking about the Judah nation, shall be saved, and Jerusalem shall dwell safely. And this is the name wherewith she, got that? She shall be called the Lord of our righteousness. In other words, while you busy fighting, the Most High is going to call his angels and kingdom to make sure Judah is safe, because it's not going to be safe through your hands while you just busy on earth displaying your ego to the world and how much knowledge you have. You don't have enough knowledge for that kingdom to serve it properly and to serve it and to keep the unity of Judah, Israel, and to keep that nation and that honor, intact enough to show enough manpower of righteousness and holy righteousness and unity, because God is unity, for that black infant to be protected, for that young girl to give birth in a little security, knowing that some men have her back. But you don't have that. You don't have that. All you got is burnt offerings. Yeah, knowledge comes from God anyway, so there's no need for you getting ego glorification off of this versus that and that versus this, because all knowledge is from God. Your ego is from your 666 beasthood, okay? And your ego has never did nothing for blacks or Judah or the covenant progress or the poor infants that you watch trampled while you think you got time to debate all day long and versus this all day long, all night long, all day long, all night long, all day long. Verses. This. How old are you anyway? How old are you? Because you still seem like you in the schoolyard. Like, unruly children in identity crisis. I mean, if your purpose is not to serve Judah, then you in identity crisis. You're busy serving your ego. And you're trying to take credit for knowledge that comes from God. But you want to act like your ego did it. Well, your ego ain't discovered nothing. Your ego never did nothing. Your ego didn't come up with nothing. All knowledge is from God. So stop giving your ego the credit. And when you stop giving your ego credit, you won't have no need to this versus that and that versus this. See, that's ego infantile behavior. And you done spend enough time doing that. You just spend a whole bunch of time. Meanwhile, how many black infants have been trampled since you've been doing this? And when you always opening your mouth to criticize President Obama, when did you ever ask the Black Caucus to step up to the plate and call themselves the Constitutional Caucus, since they're constitutional citizens, and begin to represent you properly, so that child won't be rambled over by any immigrant coming here squatting, claiming his birthright. No, you ain't got time for that. You want to take credit for knowledge from God, and so you want to have your ego childishness all displayed on the internet. I have never seen no other race argue. Feels as though they have all this time to argue. How many black children you think is in foster homes being raped and pharmaceutically drugged? Do you have any idea? Do you have any idea of the genocide and the homicide rate of our black youth? Do you have any idea of these young girls feeling so down and so coerced and so without and so attrition that she feels as though her only choice is abortion? But you got time to pretend you got some knowledge that God didn't give you. So you got time to float around in the ego days. Yeah, all the knowledge you floating around in the ego days. And all your different directions, none of them is focusing on that Judah royal infant. None of them is focusing on God Almighty. None of them is focusing on the holy nation of Judah, Israel. None of it is all focused on. Some of you even say now you think you got enough knowledge when you talking about there's no Christ and Christ don't exist and Christ is a homosexual. Oh, you got a whole bunch of shit coming out of your neck and mouth. You done ate all that Babylon dung. You might as well have sucked it out of the Dracon ass. This is why no man will ever sit upon the throne of King David again, because this kingdom will be everlasting. Not all your childish disintegration running all over the place, thinking your ego have some knowledge and it don't have nothing but what God put there, but you ain't going to give God the credit because you want to sit there arguing all day long, all night long, all day long. Therefore, not form any kind of groups to push forward an agenda to move the kingdom forward, to move the children rights forward within the kingdom. No, you got time to argue all day and all night. This is why the kingdoms were split, the same stupidity. This is why we fell, the same stupidity. You needing an ego gratification and willing to throw everything away just to get a spark of ego. Ain't no need of you thinking you're better than any black woman, cause you showing to the world a lot of you are too silly to even understand what balance is. King Emmanuel will sit on King David's throne. The resurrected King Emmanuel will sit on King David's throne, and his mother will be right beside him. So ain't no need of you thinking you're going to form a nation or do this or do that, because you're going to get knocked on your ass. You better get in line and get on that New Jerusalem wall and stop all this bickering. If you don't begin to get on that New Jerusalem wall and get in front of that black child and stop all this arguing in the world, you will see hard luck hitting your ass. Okay? This is Mary Omni from the house of King David. Shalom.
This is Mary Omni from the house of King David. Shalom.